Spoiler red alert. This show, Starbase 80's Disco Nights, discusses the plot details of the most recent episode, or in this case, episodes, of Star Trek Discovery, Season 5, airing on Paramount Plus and other places throughout the world. But, I don't live there, so I'm ignorant about all that. I'm Captain John, and I just want to warn you, if you don't want spoilers about Season 5, as it is, because there's 2 episodes we're discussing today. Oh boy, you do not want to watch this. If you haven't seen it yet, what did Joe write? It's really good. If you haven't seen Disco this week, go have a look, then come back here and check out our recap and review. Please do that. We would love that. Okay. Let me remove that. Hi, it's Captain John. Star Trek Discovery has been nicknamed a lot of things, and one of the things that it's nicknamed is Disco, and we love that so much. We embraced it. So welcome, Starbase 80's Disco Nights.
Starbase 80's Disco Nights.
Still love this song.
Starbase 80's Disco Nights.
Not tired of it yet.
Starbase 80's Disco Nights.
Oh, yeah.
Starbase 80's Disco Nights.
That's
Starbase 80's Disco Nights.
all right. Okay.
Starbase 80's
Thank you very much, ladies. You're just wonderful. Fly, Robin, fly. Okay. Let me bring on the co-host with the most. This man, he makes it all happen. I'm a worker bee who gets lucky sometimes. This man's a genius, and we are damn lucky to have him. Can I introduce you to our co-host? And he's an author. And my co-host for Retro Rangers, and the guy who makes Starbase 80 spin in a geosynchronous orbit, ladies and gentlemen, is Joe Townsell. Hiya, Joe.
Hiya, Captain John. I apologize for getting caught off guard there. The disco beat was still moving me as you introduced me. So
Who can blame you, my friend? That song. I'm in the great tradition of science fiction, I have embraced AI, and a lot of things that are part of the show, I will admit, I fed them into AI. And I do want to say this to artists who are afraid that AI is going to replace them. AI is never going to replace you. It is so inaccurate. It is so clunky. We're so lucky to get the things that we get. But anyway, that's just a production note. Hopefully there won't be too many of those during the show, but there probably will. And that's fine too.
But AI can do some great things, John. For example, this isn't really Joe talking to you right now. It's the AI replica of Joe, just so we all know this.
Have you seen those? They have an AI program that will record you and then replicate you, and basically, you speak into it and it syncs up to whatever you say, but it's an AI version of you, and it is the most soul dead looking thing. It is so incredibly not human. There are people I love who are doing it. It's like, I can't even watch it because it basically looks like this. The body doesn't change at any point, but the voice does. And you can every once in a while see a blink, but that's about all you'll get. You won't get any eyebrows. You won't get any head turning. It's really annoying. So I'm really glad I wasted everybody's time doing that. Joe, we're trying to do a show that's under an hour for a change, because we just love streaming together, you and I. We do these epic shows on Retro Rangers. It's so much fun. But we are trying to get a more concentrated experience for the Star Trek aficionado, if you will. And so how should we do this, Joe? You direct me.
Well, I think the best place to start when delving into this season, the final season of Star Trek Discovery, you know what? We just got to follow the beats, the disco beats, the story beat, the beat. Tell them what the episode's all about.
Joe tell Paramount that we stole the Spore Drive sound effect from the beginning of these segments because, and it's so funny because I found where somebody had this sound effect, and one of the comments on the video that had it was like, "Doesn't that sound effect sound a little squishy?" But anyway, here we are. It's the Beats. I'm sorry. Let me just. Okay.
Boy, that's catchy.
There's got to be another layout we could do. No, don't like that one. No, that's no good. No, that's fine. Oh, I guess that's all right. I know I should have worked this out at some point. All right, it's back to you and me. Let's do that. Let's go back to the beats. The episodes that we're looking at right now, Mr. Townsell.
Well, our show is going to be in 2 parts in one, as you indicated, John. We have 2 premiere episodes this week with Star Trek Discovery on Paramount Plus. So we're going to do them each individually.
Wow.
Might even separate the midpoint of the episode with the little Final Jeopardy theme music, so we can make those 2 halves very clear. You know,
that's very nice. Look good.
But
for you.
For now, we're going to be talking about episode 1, titled "Red Directive," and if we're ready, I'll provide some beats. Tell you what it was all about.
Let's hear those beats, my friend.
So here I'm going to my cue cards right now. Please forgive me. It's such a professional performer on this end, but I'm going to do my best. Here we go.
All right.
As season 5 opens, Michael Burnham strikes her signature Black Widow superhero pose while riding at the warp on the outside of a mysterious ship. Never a dull moment indeed. Now we cut to 4 hours earlier, where we're attending a swanky cocktail party celebrating the millennium anniversary of the Federation. No more Spore Drive, we find out, except for Discovery. As for Starfleet as a whole, Black Alert no more. Now, Book is mentioned. Burnham gets sad.
Yeah.
Awkward.
The boyfriend.
Yes. Saru is offered the role of ambassador with the fringe benefit of having full-time kissy face with the Vulcan president.
I like how you wrote this.
Well, thank you, sir.
I'm really digging this.
Meanwhile, Admiral Vance whisks Burnham to the Infinity Room, a cross between Q Continuum Heaven and the Cone of Silence on Get Smart. Michael Burnham, your mission, should you just choose to accept it, intercept an 800-year-old Romulan vessel with a super mysterious artifact vital to the security of the Federation. Here we go again.
Of course.
Actually, it doesn't matter if you choose to accept it, Michael. It's not optional because this is a red directive.
First time we've ever heard of the red directive, correct?
This is the first time. It must be a 32nd century little quality there. So
yeah. I want to take a quick break to introduce people in the comments section. Craig Robinson is with us. Craig Robinson's back. Hooray! Glad to have you back. Craig says, evening, Captain, and number 1, good to have you gents back talking Trek. Thank you, sir.
Good to be back.
And our friend Robin is with us as well. She's
Robin.
not worried about spoilers. She says, watch both, so I'm ready, Captain. And I'll let Craig jump in on the beats. He loved the start to the final season. Often felt like I was watching a movie. 100%. I totally agree. And then the 800-year-old Romulan secret vital to the security. Robin points out, ooh, a Trek MacGuffin.
Very good points.
A delicious MacGuffin. So yes, back to the beats, Mr. Townsell.
Back to the beats. And of course, please, comments as they come in. Beats are always interruptible because it's all a team effort.
Yes. Well, I mean, Joe did all the work on it, but still, team effort.
Shh, John, come on. Okay, next stop, Romulan ship, and already aboard. 2 mischievous hunters of rare antiquities, fortune and glory. Enter season 5 baddies, Maul and Locke. Sounds like I'm hawking something up there.
Yes, it does.
Kovich orders Burnham to use any means necessary to secure that extra shiny prize in the 800-year-old Romulan crackerjack box. First artifact found, a long-dead Romulan. And the second disappointing find, an empty vault. Holy Al Capone, Batman.
Oh yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Ooh, that Al Capone sting. I mean, you had to be around in the 80s to really know how much that hurt, but yeah, that hurt.
Yes, and we did. Maul and Locke eliminate the landing party's 2 red shirts, leaving only Burnham to fend them off. But no such luck. Hand over the prize, space thieves, Burnham demands. They shout, F you, Mikey, and blast the dumbfounded Captain out into space. Fortunately, she brought along her magic instant spacesuit. The USS Antares catches up with annoying, competitive Captain Rayner, who has a beef with the thieves. He will not turn off his tractor beam, putting lives at risk. Well, gang, this is Rayner Gaff #1.
Yeah, get a big list together because there's plenty of those.
Despite her best efforts, Mikey can't stop the ship. She does convince Rayner to cut their tether as well. So as a final FU, the thieves concoct a dizzying array of 20 or so decoy warp signatures.
That was
Peter
a cool
Piper
move.
picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Oh my God. There's a really funny comment from Robin, but I'm going to save it.
Good save.
Oh, yeah. I'm saving that one, Robin, but it's gold.
Just let me know when, John.
Okay.
Kovich demands a brilliant idea, and Mikey has one. Time to call Old Flame Book. Again, awkward. Which way did they go? Well, Book figures it out in about 10 seconds. That away, he says. To Kamau, where they pay top dollar for rare trinkets and plot-driven MacGuffins. Thank you, Robin. Before heading out, Burnham makes a call to Tilly. Mi amiga, do me a solid and hack the Federation database. Find out just what the heck we're trying to acquire here. Now, meantime, our new cute couple of thieves arrive at the Desert Bazaar on Kamau, a planet that resembles a cross between Tatooine and Naboo. Meet Fred.
Such a good description. Oh my God. Because at first when I saw it, I was like, wait, isn't this supposed to be like a bummed out planet? They're almost always bummed out planets. But no, this is one of those happy village planets. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
They're just minding their own business, and they're going to get disturbed a little bit later, as we'll soon find out.
Uh-oh.
Now, before this, meet Fred, a distant cousin of our beloved Data, and the creation of Alton Soong.
Very funny.
He takes a liking to the Romulan puzzle box and puts his Rubik's Cube aside to tackle this new brain teaser. A few seconds later, Fred opens the mystery box and extracts Dr. Henry Jones' journal, revealing the hidden location of the Holy Grail. Just kidding. This book has coded info for something else entirely.
Still
Fred
good.
calls upon his skills learned from the Evelyn Wood speed reading course and consumes the ancient notebook in seconds, flipping pages with lightning speed.
Very lol. Loved it.
Well, how about 3 bars of gold press latinum, Fred offers? While Maul and Locke laugh in his face and lay waste to the android and his goons. The Starfleet trio arrives a day late and $1 short. They beam up what's left of Fred and set out to hunt down the bad guys. Meanwhile, back at Starfleet Academy, spinoff alert, Tilly is caught red-handed snooping in the Federation databanks. Admiral Vance saves her butt from immediate court-martial, and they both check out Tilly's surprising find. An old vintage recording reveals a long-dead Romulan scientist, revealing the secrets he jotted down in the mysterious journal.
Yeah.
He also drops a cryptic clue about the twin moons. Next episode alert. Michael, Book, and Rayner rent some hovering speeder bikes from a vendor from Endor and head out into the desert.
Pod racers. Go ahead.
Maul and Locke get to their ship and plan to use some tunnels to escape. The Starfleet trio bickers on how to thwart this evasive action. Rayner, you idiot, Burnham protest. Don't order the Antares to close the tunnels. Ever heard of cave-ins and avalanches? In case you didn't notice, there's a village down there, and a few folks might kick the bucket if large boulders roll over them. Remember the booby traps from Raiders of the Lost Ark? This is an episode 2 booby trap foreshadowing, by the way.
Yes.
Rayner decides to order the tunnel sealed anyway. This is Rayner Gaff #2.
Yeah.
But hey, there's no avalanche, so no problemo.
Right.
Oh, but this gives the thieves their own brilliant idea. Hey, they cause an avalanche anyway, providing them a means of escape during the resulting distraction and hubbub. Geez, now what, Rainer, you short-sighted boob? The solution arrived at inexplicably will use Discovery and the Antares to create a blockade for the inevitable landslide.
Put a pin in this one, everybody. I have a huge temper tantrum to throw later. Please continue.
Yes, we'll be getting down and dirty. There's a Disco Night section alert for you.
we didn't want to call it the rant because there's so many rants when we do this. So it's called Down and Dirty. But yes, please finish this section, please.
I mean, after all, why use only the shields create a force field? Nope, makes more sense to crash land both ships head first directly into the hard desert floor. Hey, but it works with only off-screen fatalities and damage. Maz Eisley, oops, wrong franchise, is saved. But the thieves have made good their escape once again, really pissing off Rainer.
Yep.
After the dust has settled, literally, Disco returns to space dock. Saru's life-changing decision has been made as he prepares to join his Vulcan squeeze Tarina. She has no emotional response, of course. Why would she? She's Vulcan, after all. But she does pop the question to Saru, more than making up for her lacking of gushing and giddiness. Saru, of course, responds with an enthusiastic, "You betcha, baby." In sickbay, Hugh and Paul have been dissecting Fred's positronic brain, containing a recording of his quick skimming of the Romulan diary, further serving the plot. Burnham spots a reference to the Twin Moons location. Again, next episode alert. Hey, Kovich, they're digging in the wrong place. Oops, another Raiders reference. Sorry.
But that's exactly what it was. Wait, there's one more line they didn't know about. Oh my God. So Raiders of the Lost Ark. Son of a... Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Kovich, exasperated with his breakneck-paced, action-packed episode, finally relents and gives Burnham the scoop. The long-dead Romulan scientist was named Dr. Velik. He was one of those present when a certain Captain Jean-Luc Picard found a message left by ancient beings, now dubbed the progenitors.
The progenitors.
Yes. Who created every humanoid species in the galaxy. Holy callback to TNG's The Chase, Batman.
Yes.
Velik found the progenitors' technology, and now the greatest treasure in the known galaxy, maybe even the unknown galaxy, is ripe for picking. Maul and Locke are already a step ahead in finding it, but not if Mike and Disco get there first. With a sly smile, Burnham braces herself and us for 9 more action-packed episodes of swashbuckling outer space treasure hunting adventure. Captain, we'd be grateful if you gave the word. Gladly, she says. Let's fly. Well, actually, that's 2 words, but that's okay.
Right.
End of beats for this episode.
Oh my goodness. All right. Let me just say, I want to admit to something first. And I have to say, as much nasty things as I have to say about this episode, I still enjoyed it. And I kept thinking about all the people, including Mr. Townsell, who have had to listen to me complain all week because the discussion that we would hear in the promo for this 5th season of Discovery was that it was going to be a treasure hunt. It was going to be a swashbuckling adventure. It's going to be this great, chase through space. And I remember, do you remember me complaining to you, Joe, going, wait, they already did this in Next Generation. It was called The Chase.
I do remember. That was a great prediction on your part because I didn't really see it coming in. It was a possibility that occurred to me, but it definitely wasn't as definitive as it turned out to be. So good job, John.
As if I deserve it. But what's wild about it was I really liked that episode, The Chase from Star Trek: The Next Generation. I love that episode. That's to me a very very we're gonna get to the comments. They're killing me. It's a great episode. It was a great answer to a lot of questions. Why this was a big one during Next Generation. why are all of the races basically the same except they all have something here?
Or here.
or here. Like there's all these like makeup applications, and we know why they all looked like that, because not everybody can be the Horta. You know, not every most characters have to have conversations, so there's some level of humanoid, but isn't that interesting and convenient that there are so many humanoids? And in the chase, and I'll ruin the chase for everybody because it's already a spoiler show, we find out that there was a race that seeded all of the planets, very ancient astronauts, which I kind of dig, and created all of these symmetrical bipeds. And this is Robin kidding, because Robin does not even love bipeds, but she's saying bipeds rule. I think that's more an observation than anything, because I know Robin very well. She does not love bipeds. Quadrupeds, oh, she'll hug you all day if you're a quadruped. I do have a lot more to add, but honestly, that would be under our next segment.
Sounds like we're getting down and dirty, John.
Down and dirty. Let's get down and dirty, my friend.
Man, John Revolta, back at it.
There's so much to discuss that is crazy, and I do want to talk about the solution of basically crashing the ships to stop the avalanche. Okay, let me just say this, Joe, and Robin and Craig, anybody watching, help me out here. In previous Star Treks, they didn't have to crash the ship unless the ship was, basically blown up. And Enterprise blew up a lot. But could they not have done that without actually slamming the ships? That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen into the planet. I love the scene. As Robin points out, they'll never get rid of all that sand. Oh, wait. I want to see someone find sand in weird places all season. Linus is on the show. That would usually be his job. Craig says it's coarse and rough and it gets everywhere. I know. It's like the ship, the Discovery now has sand in its underpants. That's just terrible. What a stupid thing. Here's another observation that Robin made that I was going to make as well, which was so you've got Locke and Maul, and I do love the scene with Fred. I really loved Fred because he's not as good as Data. The one thing I objected to with Fred was every Sung android I've ever seen has a pretty clever name. Data, Lore, B4. Lal's name had meaning, even though that was given by Data. Their names always had meaning, but Fred. So I do love that Fred repeats their names over and over again and describes them in sort of pronunciation terms and linguistic terms, because at the end of that scene I was like, I get it, their names are Locke and Maul. I'm good. Thank you. You taught me their names. They're very important. Thank you. But the look on Maul, that wig, and I do love that Robin brought it up. She was like, that sci-fi wig has sure been getting around. Pris in Blade Runner, then Ahsoka. I'm not sure. Who's Ahsoka? I should know. Who was the character on Farscape who was mostly black and white? And she had that wig too. Honest to God, I feel like they found that wig on the floor at the studio. It's so disgusting. I know she's supposed to look rough and dirty. Okay, so getting back to more things Robin has said. Exactly. Fred, was he a Sung rip-off cop team? from Timu. Um, yeah, I mean, seriously, no, but actually, most artificial life forms were not as good as Data. That's like the historical thing in Trek, which I love. That's great. I have no problem with that. Data and Lore were like two of the best, but they were made by the Sung. Everybody else is kind of a copy. Yeah, that's cool. I also love that they just basically took Fred's head, and that was where they got a lot of their information. And that's great, because now they have the diary because he looked at it and it was stored in his memory banks. That was great. But here's the thing: how much in this episode did not have to take as long as it did? The whole title pretty much tells you that there's literally red tape in between them and being able to solve this. The red directive. It's so interesting to me that they put up all these obstacles and then the obstacles get knocked down and an hour's gone by.
Well, it kind of struck me as far as pacing, like a lot of the current popular police procedurals, like NCI, FBI, NCI, or whatever, the
Sure.
acronyms go on and on. But it's basically short bursts of action separated by, tedious strings of exposition.
Yeah.
Now we do have the
Right,
special
right.
effects and the witticism to make it a little bit more interesting in this case. Because I enjoyed the episode quite a bit myself. It was a great
Yeah.
season opener.
Yeah.
But your
Yeah.
points are valid in the sense, like, okay, let me put it this way: as far as making an early comment, I'm already glad we're at 10 episodes and not 12 or 13, because I think the shorter run is gonna benefit from the storytelling.
I absolutely agree. And I know this is a different team from the team that put together Picard season 2 or Picard season 3,
Yeah.
but it does have uh it does have a feeling of, as Craig said right at the very beginning. So let me go back there. Oh, no, I didn't need to go back so far that I got the compliment. Whoops. No,
Do this again, John.
um, I'll take any positivity I can get. It does feel so much like a movie. It really
Mhm.
feels like a Trek movie, and I am both slightly annoyed by that and absolutely excited by that because
Mhm.
it's beautiful. They've pushed things that it actually made me think of so the planet where the avalanche happens. Can't remember the name already.
Kamau.
Kamau. Oh, fantastic. Well done. The looking over the vista, the big wide pictures of
Mhm.
it. It's the sort of thing they used to do on the original series with their paintings. And you would
Oh.
always see those paintings at the end of the episode under the credits. Da,
Mhm.
da, 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 da. There's a castle and a building over here. Da, 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 da. Oh, we're on a planet with a pyramid, a thing. And I
And
like
then
that.
Baylock.
Like, it, what was that? What was that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. And then at the end of the credits, Baylock looking like this. Yeah.
All right. Oh my God, what's that name? It's like Harlan Solo or something. You ever see the picture of the guy from the convention who dressed up like that guy and then had a clear plastic thing that had the credit over it?
Okay. No, it sounds great.
I'll take that picture up. I love it. It's like one of my favorite cosplays ever. Um, I need to get back to these rascals we have over in our Craig brings up a good question. Maybe you have an answer for this one. Mr. Townsend, wasn't there an Omega directive in Voyager when they discovered that particle?
Indeed, there was. I mean, the episode was named for it. As a matter of fact, Omega
Oh,
Directive, and plot details are not forth. But yes, but I think what Craig is getting at is what's the difference then between Omega Directive and Red Directive? I would have to say that his directive was basically defiance of which was punishable by. or close to it. So maybe
Mm.
redirect this, than
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
executed.
Oh, yeah. We're getting a little choppy, so I want to apologize to everybody, but John and Joe do live in rural areas, so we take what we can get for for internet. I do love this comment as well from Robin. 1,000 years in the future, still bureaucracy. Oh yeah, oh yeah, and that actually brings up another thing. I wonder if this is more. Is it? No, no, that's more the next episode. So no, I'll skip past that. We'll
Hold that
talk
thought,
about it.
John.
Yeah.
But I do want to respond to a comment you made in defense of some of the, even though I hated it too, in defense of the logic of crash landing the ships in the
Okay.
desert.
Hmm.
When we in the 23rd century we could come with a more effective solution than this. We're in the 32nd century now,
Yeah.
and that's a time period where a Kelpian's tears can burn up all dilithium in the entire galaxy. So there's been a few steps backwards, I guess. So maybe ships as a physical blockade against the bull.
Okay, sure. And I guess that kind of gets into the head of the thing I was saying, let's say for the second half, but I can at least drop a hint of it. You know, our crew, the Discovery, is from the 23rd century. They're in the 32nd century. They're still the weirdos. They're still the new kids,
Mm-hmm.
as great and as accomplished as they are. But everybody who went through the burn when all dilithium, blowed up real good, uh, that that created a mindset, and they have said that several times in Discovery that the people of the 32nd century are traumatized by the burn and by the limitations that came after it. So, yeah, that kind of explains a bunch of things. I'll be okay. And I do want to say, just as Robin pointed out, I thought it was hilarious, like legit hilarious, that when they fly into space dock to get repairs, there's a giant cloud of sand behind them. Because, yeah, there would be. And I love that there's so much sand, you can see it in space. I love that. Because there would be. So that was a joke. That was a visual joke and a content joke I really appreciated, and little bit of sense of humor that I appreciated too. And there's a lot of things I love about Discovery. I just also have to show my love for David Cronenberg, who plays Dr. I know his name, Kovich. Boy, you would just watched me fight off Alzheimer's right live on a camera. Dr. Kovich, I just love him. It's David Cronenberg, one of the great horror filmmakers of our time, and a Canadian. So I imagine he drives from his house to the studio in Toronto and then goes home at night. What else do we want to address here, Mr. Townsell?
Well, I mean, maybe this is a good segue to tidbit thoughts on episode 1.
There's always a good time for some Townsell tidbit.
Oh, I can't take sole credit, but
I just love the Townsell tidbit.
And please, an audience, add to the list we're about to recite to you, but here's a collection of this week's episodes. Iconic 2161 cocktail celebrating the millennium 3190 because it tastes like a junk on DS9.
It tastes
We
like
do get to see Tilly get tipsy on Andorian champagne.
right.
The Romulan Science Vessel was the same design used in the TNG episode The Next Phase, although the interiors were different.
Love that.
Yes. There is at least one Tribble roaming free through the corridors of Discovery.
What the hell?
Probably in search of a dark, quiet place to have a litter.
That was nuts. I couldn't believe they had a Tribble. That is nuts.
They're still around. Well, despite the Klingons' best efforts, right? In addition to the puzzle box, Maul and Locke also have 24th century cloaking device, isolinear, and a self-sealing stem.
Oh my god, I love that a self-sealing stem bolt made a cameo appearance. And it was the actual prop. I freaking love that.
Fred says he hasn't seen such relics for 622.7 years, indicating he has been in operation since at least the 26th century.
Oh wow.
More likely he's even older since he resembled Data. So,
Yes.
in other words, at any rate, RIP Fred. His serial number is AS0572Y, with Stamets concluding the AS refers to 24th century scientist Alton Soong. Quick glances during the Covering the Season trailer, I believe, I could be wrong, reveal both a Mirror Universe logo as well as a Constitution-class vessel emerging from some kind of nebula, wormhole, or other space anomaly.
Oh, I'm excited for
that. This kind of delves into predictions area, but I'm going to mention it now. Possibly the return of the TOS USS Defiant.
Oh! You want to see me jump up and down like a cheerleader?
Now this could be Discovery, or it could be Section 31. We'll see if it comes to pass. And finally, a previous ship named the Antares delivered Charlie Evans, aka Charlie X, to Kirk's Enterprise in TOS.
Oh wow!
And a little known fact: a lot of people thought in the previews he was going to be Romulan, but Raynor's species, the color runs, originated in DS9.
That's right. I tried to do a little bit of a deep dive on Raynor because he's going to be a really interesting character. Already is, frankly.
Well, he's Discovery's Captain Shaw, in my opinion.
Oh, that's a great comparison, because I do like him. I mean, he's a real pain in the ass, but yeah, I like him a lot. I that's true. Joe's got a hair trigger on that pause button. And I also want to maybe this is more down and dirty, and I forgot to bring it up, but Robin brought it up, which was the name of the girl is Maul, as in Gangsters Mall, as in like Bonnie and Clyde, or is it Mickey and Mallory from Natural Born Killers? It's weird that you've got this like edgy couple, but we'll be talking more about them in the second episode. Great observations, Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I did.
And I have to caution you and admonish you, John. Please don't let topics seep from one section to the next, because if nothing else, this show is a slave to structure. So let's just keep it tight, okay?
We used to do it in a very loose, unformatted way, and my God, what a mess the show would be. So when I asked Joe to partner up with me, I was like, "How can we solve this?" And he was like, "We can do sections. We can do segments and sections, and we can run over things." And oh my God, it's such a good idea, but it's so hard to keep the captain of the USS. Oh my God, I can't even remember the word.
You're currently signed to Starbase 80, John.
The Tangent.
The Tangent. That's right.
I've captained the Tangent many times, the way Captain Sisko would captain the Defiant. My ship is the Tangent, and it is, as Robin says, a beautiful ADHD mess. It is so true. That describes my brain to a T. Let's talk about another segment that we like to do. We like to talk about the MVPs. Who are the most valuable players? Very ESPN for me. I do have to find the comment that music makes me miss Coast to Coast with Art Bell. Yes. Well, actually, Giorgio Moroder wrote the piece that Art Bell would play, and I loved it. And so when I was, whipping the AI to try to make the song for us, when it got very Giorgio Moroder, I was like, "Oh, now you're onto something. Oh yeah, here we go." Um, the oh my God, where was it going? Most valuable players. Who do we like in this episode? Who in this episode? I don't like Rayner, and not in this episode, not in the very first one. I guess I'm loving Saru, and
Yeah.
it's Takrin?
His fiance?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. T apostrophe RIN.
Sorry, you glitched out a little bit there.
Oh, I'm just saying, I think her name is Tarin.
Turin.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There. Please laugh at me, Craig. It makes the show better. Oh, right. That's what Robin was saying. You know who the MVP is? The droid that cleaned all that sand.
That it's hard to argue with that.
I definitely have to give it there. I always like Kovich, but I'm such a nerd and such a Cronenberg fan. I was such a VHS horror guy that I just love me some David Cronenberg. Do you have any favorite characters in that first episode there, Joe?
Well, John, I will make this point. I don't think we have to like a character's actions to dub them the most valuable.
Bringing up
So
Captain
I'm gonna
John.
do a 180 from your thought, and I'm gonna declare for me the MVP is Rayner.
Okay.
Because more than any other character in this premiere episode, he got the events of the season running through his misactions and misdeeds.
Right.
And as we'll see next episode, there's a lot of potential there for him to do even more shoddy stuff.
Exactly. Great comment from Craig. I'll go with Doug Jones as Saru. He's really firing on all the cylinders and got that sweating swagger down to a T. And I loved the action Saru joke. It comes up a lot in Twin Moons, but I do love that Saru. Well, I mean, look, as soon as Saru decides, and it is at the end of this episode, I believe, right? He decides he is going to retire from Discovery. And that is, as soon as he decides that, I go in my buddy comedy brain. Oh, I'm sorry, my buddy action movie brain. I go, uh-oh, this guy's like just announced his retirement. He's going to die. That was my worry. And I'll take that worry into the second episode. And
there's 8 more after that. I don't want you to be right, but I can't say you're wrong yet.
And is there anything more we want to run from Red Directive? Anything else you're thinking, my friend?
Oh, if you want, you can bring up the heading if you want. I mean, the only prediction I was going to make, is that we're looking at a more episodic season under the umbrella of a continuing story, which I think is the perfect approach, if indeed that, because it looks like we're going to be going from planet to planet, from Strange New World to Stranger New World, and that's what Star Trek's all about. So I hope that's the pattern we're taking.
Yes, and great thought from Robin, which is Booker is figuring in, like he is. He's back on the ship. He's been serving his time. He's been doing his community service for the ridiculous, stupid crap that he did in season 4. Oy, season 4.
Hey, everybody loves a good redemption arc.
And honestly, he's worth it too. And can I just throw this out? I want everybody, unfortunately, I don't have a photo of him. I wish I did. I want everyone to picture the actor who plays Booker. Okay. And he's English, and he's got, he's charming. He's very charming, very roguish. He reminds me so much of Tim Curry. He reminds me so much. Watch him, listen to him, and just go, oh my God, Tim Curry could be like his dad. I mean, besides the obvious differences, but seriously, there's a feeling there that I get from him that I really like. And of course, Robin, who is amazing at hair and styling wigs, is like Tilly's micro bangs. Sure. But yes, this is the Tim Curry I'm seeing. Robin points it out. It's in the eyes. Their eyes are very similar. If it's just crazy. I'm very sorry Tim Curry's no longer with us because man, he would make a great character on this show as he did on many shows. Yeah. So is that it for?
I think we're ready for episode. Now, do we need to separate our two halves by the Final Jeopardy theme, or can we just go right into part two?
Let's just go right in because honestly, we got 15 minutes left to come in under an hour, which I don't know if that's happening.
It ain't happening. It's always a worthwhile goal, John. But
it's 2 episodes. And let me just throw this up front for all of us fans here of Star Trek. It is such a tradition, as you know, you could tell me this, you know this, as a tradition, they always like to begin a season with a 2-hour special.
Yes.
And when we were going on Starbase 80, when we were going through the history of Enterprise, I believe Enterprise, they didn't want to do 2-hour beginners to the season, even though that had been the tradition. And Paramount, the studio, stood up and said, oh, no. You do 2-hour season openers. That's what you do. And I kind of like that. That's like a great tradition, a really great old tradition of Star Trek, starting with Next Generation. Absolutely, so yes. I'm perfectly cool with the fact that we watched 2 episodes this week. That's fine.
Well, you weren't that cool, but earlier in the week we had to put all this together, John.
This is one of the busiest weeks of my life. This week we just finished was crazy busy. The one I'm going into, insanely busy, because I'm in a play that's opening. I've got a class that's starting soon. We're running 2 shows, me and Joe. So busy. Thank you for letting me complain and waste more time on the show.
All right, well, I guess we're moving on to episode 2, John.
Let's talk about episode 2. And what the hell? Why don't we just hit it? I'll just,
more beats.
Don't let this slow you down at all, Joe. Go right ahead. So let's talk about Twin Moons.
Under the Twin Moons. Well, as episode 2 opens, Discovery's getting sandblasted in space dock after that ill-advised crash landing on the desert planet. Burnham is melancholy, very much in character for Trek's most sensitive captain, as she ponders Saru's last day as first officer.
And
now Michael is summoned to
May I just point out, this happens over and over. She's sad about Saru a lot in this episode. Okay.
Yes, she is, and rightfully so, as we'll see. Now Michael is summoned to a heated hearing for Captain Raynor, called on the carpet for his reckless actions in episode 1. Burnham doesn't want to be a Fink, but she does take some satisfaction in pointing out that Raynor was careless and obsessed with the space. His cowboy diplomacy run President Rilak.
Diplomacy. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Oh my God. Oh, Townsville, you're a wordsmith.
Thank you, sir. Raynor chooses his words carefully in pointing out that the bureaucrats have sat on their collective asses, basking in the glory of the bold new post-burn era. So things ain't looking good for Raynor the Renegade. Now Book and his oddly disturbing cat, Grudge, are staying with Disco for the duration of the treasure hunt mission.
Right.
Burnham makes them feel welcome by giving them an equally disturbing holographic mouse toy. Arriving at the planet Lyric, Adira and Tilly brief Burnham and Saru on how the shadow of Twin Moons, not to be confused with the crescent-shaped canyon in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh my God. That's
where they point to where the X will mark the spot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, part of the quest will have to commence on foot. Get out your hiking books, Captain and Outgoing number 1. Michael and Saru acknowledge their last dance before beaming on down. The pair also have a chuckle about Reno giving the Kelpian the nickname Action Saru.
Love it.
A spike in the EM field has Tilly worried. Well, that concern is justified as killer drones emerge from a giant 4-eyed alien statue head. Feats don't fail me now. Geez, did we beam down to the Arsenal of Freedom planet from TNG season 1?
Yes. Our ship, my ship, the lollipop. It's a good ship.
Yeah. No, it's the TNG episode, and the chase is enough for now. Now, Adira and Tilly struggle over how to help the hapless Mike Captain hiding under his fire on them.
Sorry, you
On
broke up.
suicide runs.
Sorry, Joe, you broke up on that one. Could you go back for that?
Really struggle over how to help the hapless Mikey and Saru.
Oh, yeah.
Captain and Commander are now hiding under a giant stone foot as the drones fire on them and then blow up on suicide runs, only to be replaced by more drones. Are we sure this isn't the Arsenal of Freedom planet? Now, Rayner projects himself via hologram into the situation. That's not creepy. Turns out he's been secretly watching from HQ.
Yes. He was spying.
Covert surveillance, that's okay. But he does guide the landing party toward an automated security system. Oh, I swear this is just like our forget it. Solution: put a ray gun inside from which the killer drones are launching. Now, Michael wants to be the cannon fodder since Saru is about to get hitched. But he reminds her that he is actually Action Saru and faster. So off he goes and fire destroying drones with his quills. Meanwhile, Michael drops the phaser bomb. Meanwhile, again, Book and Cobra are building a profile of this season's adversaries. Maul and Locke are dangerous but not inherently violent. Maul is human, but Locke's species is unknown. Breen, perhaps, despite his aversion to helmets? We'll see.
Oh, I don't know. See, now I was thinking he might be a Tosk.
Oh. After a not-so-pleasant subspace chat, the thieves advise Book that the Romulan Velik's journal is no longer for sale. Well, Book threatens them with the long arm of Starfleet, to which the cocky duo just laugh in his face. The thieves hang up on Book, but not before he spots something interesting. After Zora, the miracle worker disco computer, de-ages Maul's image, Book realizes he knows her. Her real name is Malene, and is the daughter of Cleveland Booker IV, his own mentor and namesake.
Oh my God.
Talk about things flying out of left field. Meanwhile, back on the forest planet of Endor, wrong planet. Michael and Saru are racing against time before the drones regenerate. Drones regenerate. Don't worry, this is not another tired Borg reference. Alas, no ancient power source is where it's supposed to be. Oddly, the stone pillar they do find has fresh phaser burns. There must be more clues, but Maul and Locke beat them to it.
Yep.
However, Saru uses his Kal-El supervision and recognizes traces of writing in the form of Romulan Revlav poem. Okay? Not to be outdone, Michael deduces there are only 4 verses on the pillar, but the 5th is missing. It must be hidden because that would be just so typical of those Romulans.
They knew this about the Romulans, that they had their own version of the haiku and that there's a 5th line. Oh, that's okay. Sure. They knew. Why not? Yeah, they knew.
Hey, Mikey and Saru find the final verse under the pillar, which Maul and Locke don't have.
Right.
She also finds a hidden object. Well, X does indeed mark the spot. They beam out just in the nick of time before the drones start a new attack. In the science lab, it turns out it matches a mysterious symbol. Ari Stamets has been stamped.
Oh,
5 pieces of a map.
Sorry, Joe, you froze. Go back a sentence, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I caught you.
The revelation, it's now clear they have the first of 5 pieces of a map that would lead them to the progenitors.
Yes.
And the poem tells them where piece number 2 is. A world like no other, where 2 souls entwined, joined as one. Well, unsurprisingly, Adira nails it. We're going to Trill, home of Curzon, Jadzia, and Ezri Dax, among others. Oh, and Maul and Locke only have the first 4 verses, which point to the wrong planet, Beta Z, where hopefully the locals will passively aggressively mock them telepathically. They're digging in the wrong place. We knew this. Michael visits Saru as he prepares to disembark Disco to be with his fiancée. Touching moments are shared as they connect with the traditional Kelpian gentle headbutt. So happy trails,
Yes.
Saru.
And if you own a cat, you've had that happen many times too.
Yes. Michael checks in with Vance, who gives her the thumbs way up on the day's mission. As for Reckless Rainer, well, he's been asked to retire.
Yeah.
Now she defends Rainer's actions and has a wild idea. Burnham finds the grumpy former commanding officer as he stares lovingly at Disco. He's not willing to back down from his principles, by God, even if they did get him in lock or get him drummed out of the Corps. However, he does regret not anticipating what Maul and Locke did on Kamau, causing the avalanche, a move that everyone else, including the audience, could have predicted. Not to worry, former Captain Rainer. How about this for a final humiliation? How about becoming my new number one? Better than being treated like number two, right? Well, he readily agrees, warning Burnham that he won't be a wimpy yes man. Cool, says Mikey. Wouldn't want it any other way. Time for more Kelleran cowboy diplomacy. To quote the immortal Mr. Data, saddle up, lock and load. So tune in next week for our next trilling episode as we fade to black.
There were so many things in this episode that I loved and hated. So many thumbs up, so many thumbs down. But that's what we do when we get into the down and dirty. First off, I want to say, well, we've had so Blue Del Barrio. My God, what's her character's name? I'm sorry, what's their character's name?
Oh, she is a Trill.
Well, Gray is a Trill.
Right? Oh, you're absolutely right. My impeccable mind failed me for a change.
Right. Hey, man, you deserve one. I can't hog them all. So Gray is he's a they are a Trill, and they are back on the planet. So we're hoping to see Gray in the next episode. I know I am. I love that character. So that's nice. That's coming back. I don't know how many of these things we're going to bounce through. I don't know how many like memories of Star Trek are going to be tickled and fondled throughout this episode, throughout the season. But I guess it's okay. I guess I don't mind that. I think my problem right now is I don't know if this is more like Star Trek: The Next Generation's episode The Chase, or if it's more like The Goonies. I'm really torn because I'm one of those people who hated The Goonies.
Oh, me too. But you have given me a great idea for a future promo graphic.
I was going to ask you, like, how hard would it be if we took the poster from Goonies and just put faces from Discovery on it? Because we could go on all the Facebook groups and just spam them with that, and just like get people so mad about that. Craig, I think you're right. I believe that character is Adira, the adopted child, or one of the adopted children of Dr. Culber and Dr. Stamets. How could you hate Anne Ramsey? Anne Ramsey was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Honestly, I loved Anne Ramsey. And I was about to say, and I love Cyndi Lauper. And so the Goonies are good enough. The music video, that's great. That's got Captain Lou Albano in it, being hilarious. That's got a bunch of evil wrestlers from the 80s in it. I love that. Anyway, back to Star Trek Discovery. I like the symmetry of Captain Raynor being, basically kicked out And Michael Burnham. Now, did I hear this correctly? When Saru, who is Captain Burnham's number one, is talking about being gone, isn't he hinting that he thinks that Booker would be an excellent number one?
He suggested get somebody like Book, but
Yeah.
not Book.
Oh, but not Book, right?
Yeah.
Which is smart. Because it really couldn't be Book. Book's not Starfleet. But Captain Rayner, and that's a great choice. He is pretty much a mutineer, kind of mutineer friendly. He's mutiny curious, I would say.
Oh, let's face it, he's a direct disciple of Captain Kirk.
But that's the thing. He's Captain Kirk. And this is what I was kind of putting a pin in so that we could discuss it now. We do still have to consider that he is a captain from the post-Burn era.
Mm-hmm.
And things are very different. So I get that. But here's another thing, and I'm kind of jumping ahead, but this really bothered me in a down and dirty sense. So there are these two characters no one's ever heard of before, and they are, Maul and Locke, and they're this troubled criminal couple on the run. Okay, all right. And Booker knows that they're couriers like he was and like Burnham was for a year. And so he's got this relationship with them that way. But I don't have I find it very hard to reconcile in my brain that he could look at somebody in the universe and go, "Oh, I know her." Like, how often do you run into people traveling through the universe? Is that I could sort of argue for it, but can anyone else?
Well, I have trouble recognizing somebody that lives across town.
I mean, honest to God, I live in a tiny town too. I don't know anybody. Now, granted, professionals, they kind of know of each other. I guess, okay, the way I could argue it is in a post-Burn universe where there's very little warp travel. Maybe you do know the same old faces. Maybe, impulse power on your ship, you don't get out very far. Maybe that happens. I guess I could go with that, but I don't know.
Well, admittedly, it is a bit of a plot contrivance, and we're going to have no shortages of those this season, I believe. We already seen a few.
Yeah. I do want to get back to the comment that Robin makes. You can't have two Kirks, though. Maybe
Enemy Within.
That didn't work out too well. So
that's true.
That's where we learned. Just like on Firefly, Robin says, you can't have a crew of Han Solos. That's hilarious. And then Craig says, except in Strange New World. Also hilarious. And then as
great
I'm
observations from the disco crew tonight.
Absolutely. And I do love this for Robin as well. Maybe you want to keep your cast list small. Yeah, I guess. It's just weird that space is a neighborhood. That's just weird to me. But okay. He knows who Maul really is. Her name's not really Maul, which is funny because that's so George Lucas. All right, this one's called Girlfriend. This one's called Lizardo Boyo.
Well, as far as space being a small community, I mean, George Lucas did it best. I mean, the entire history of the Empire and the Rebellion centers around Tatooine, for goodness sake.
That's true. That's true. Oh my gosh.
All roads lead back to the desert planets.
All roads lead back to, a tiny one gas station town in New Mexico. Like, what? Okay, I guess. All right. I mean, it's happened before. I guess it could happen again.
I do think there's a good point you made, John, in that because space became quite a bit smaller during the burn, that at least it's a little bit more conceivable that Book would recognize this long ago acquaintance. And we don't know everything about Book as far as his mental prowess, his memory, whatever drives him to remember these things.
Right. That is a good thing. I'm actually quite Robin says people in small towns, they can't wait to leave, but they all go back. Yeah, I guess that does. I mean, that's, yeah, I see that. That's that'll work. That'll work. I'm not really mad about that. I'm not really mad about any of this, but I have to say it's quirky. There are some odd things going on. I'm gonna have to forgive as I go, but visually beautiful. Let's jump ahead to I want to hear for this second episode. I want to hear some Townsend's tidbits.
Well, I have a few for you. And of course, we welcome more from John and from the audience. But to get us started, at least, well, I have to make a note of that Captain Burnham's personal log was stardate 866274.3.
Okay.
Man, them stardates is getting mighty long. Now, historical error I noted.
Yeah.
Maul says that since Velic was Romulan, his diary is out of the Federation's jurisdiction. However, in this time frame, the Romulans reunified with the Vulcan to form Navarre, who have joined the Federation.
That is true.
So in a way, it's Federation business.
Yeah.
Of course, I think we know by now, all of us, that Salome Jins, better known as the leader, Dominion shapeshifter from DS9, returns as the progenitor as seen way back in the chase.
Yes. Love it. Love it.
The Jolon True Romulan greeting dates back to TNG unification. The phrase "to the journey," of course, honors Voyager. I noted that.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, for me on tidbits, Raynor fears being put in charge of a garbage scow, which of course has to be a reference to the Klingons' insult of the Enterprise way back in the Tribbles.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean the Enterprise was a garbage scow. I mean, it should be hauled off as garbage. I always wanted to be a classic Klingon. Look what I'm doing right now. Actually, this is
You're off to a great start, John.
Sorry, Joe. I got to give you all new pictures for for our posters now because the old. Anyway, I was digging this second episode quite a bit. I'm not sure I had any tidbits for this one. Didn't really look too carefully into it because got overwhelmed by the work and making things like this. So, but that was let's talk about Raynor being number one. Yeah, I think this is a feeling they're trying to give us of now the very enlightened and very accomplished Michael Burnham has a chance to find somebody like her who's got a chip on their shoulder and who is doing things wrong, but doing things wrong for the right reasons many times. But I'm very I don't trust him. I didn't trust him from the beginning. I don't trust him still. Okay, so I think I'm getting into this territory. Hang on. Oh, this is still a little tricky for me. Anybody got any predictions? Because I got a prediction right here. And I got a feeling that all is not as it seems with Mr. Raynor. There is no season 6. There is no season 7. However, I was also predicting that Saru is probably going to get killed. And I did not want that to be true. And it really looked very scary, like it might happen. So I'm glad I was wrong. I hope I'm wrong about Raynor. I hope Raynor does turn out to be a tremendous asset. But, you got to know he's going to mutiny at some point. He's going to totally disobey. It's going to be bad. That's my prediction. Any other predictions anybody have?
Well, I will. I'm actually going to build on the prediction because I happen to share it. And in a weird way, in my dark and bizarre, twisted mind, I kind of hope for it. There have been opportunities in the past in Star Trek where we could have had a questionable character turn out to be not so good,
Yeah.
which would have been to me a much more interesting. Nicholas Meyer wanted to make Savick in Star Trek Six the villain,
Yeah.
and Roddenberry said, "No, she's a beloved character." And he said, and Meyer said, "Well, yeah, but I created her."
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it would have
Exactly.
been much more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't want Rayner to be a baddie
Yeah.
at the expense of Burnham's intelligence.
Yeah.
I don't want a lot of stupid maneuvers to occur.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing right now, which I think is the intention, is that Rayner is taking the place of the early first officer Saru in challenging Burnham.
Right. Right. And we do see in the when they're on the Necropolis planet, we do see a disagreement between Saru and Burnham. It's not heated,
Right.
but it's a very solid disagreement. And Burnham realizes, no, I had to listen to my number one here. He was right and I was wrong. And I like that. I like how they're setting that up. But we know, and I got to go to Robin's comment for this because she's so dead on. He's there for story conflict and obstruction. Let's hope it's entertaining and not just frustrating. 100%.
Absolutely.
And as Joe mentioned, you know, one of the things that Roddenberry was terrible at was him wanting there to always be an agreement and a consensus, and there is no conflict between crew members. And that's just not great storytelling, is it, Joe? I mean, you're a novelist, you know this stuff.
I mean, as a writer and just thinking person, as it were, there is no drama, there is no storytelling without conflict. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just part of how that stuff goes. And you know that Joe is right about this because Joe Townsend happens to be an incredible writer. He writes novels, he writes short stories, he writes horror and science fiction. It's deep, it's psychological, really gets into your brain. And you have got to go over to joetownsend.com. You got to check out our good friend Joe and all the many beautiful things he offers for you to watch and to listen to and to purchase. And you could get paper copies. Paper copies are always a lovely thing to have.
Thank you, sir.
Or you can get digital, and I've got both. And big fan. And Robin is one of the loveliest people. Says to Joe, I sent your website to several friends.
Thank you so much, Robin. I appreciate your kind words when I met you, and I appreciate them now. I really do. Thank you. And thank you, John, for your ongoing support. It's one of the many things that keeps me going on my creative endeavors.
The least I can do, my friend. You know, he's not just a great co-host of these silly little streaming shows we do. He's got a really great vocation outside of this. Me, what you see is what you get.
Now I have to say that I do enjoy the new light that's put on my commercials that you created with our beautiful pink and purple disco background. I think it just really complements the joetownsend.com ads.
It is so funny that Robin, I thank you so much. Robin says, I love this show. Robin, your aesthetic really inspired us a lot. Actually, I say Robin, there's a character, Pris, and that's all I'll say. I'm not here to tell anybody's business, but it's disco. And so we wanted to have more. We're normally like black. Oh, well, I mean, these are the colors we normally go with, black and gold. But for disco, we wanted to kind of explore the pastels a little more, the sort of groovy colors.
The disco ball.
And the disco ball. And Robin says, that's my evil sister. Yeah. Yeah, she is. We're talking about a character named Pris who appeared on Retro Rangers last week.
That's right.
You can go find that episode. That is episode number 12. God, I should be should be numbering those episodes. Well, anyway.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We're really figuring this out as we go. What else do we want to talk about? Does anybody want to make any predictions or want to call out some MVPs? No.
Well, I guess we can move on to MVPs. The only thing I was going to say about the episode in general was that obviously we expected the season premiere, episode 1, to be the more fast-paced and complex. This is a little bit of a slowdown. We did get the Arsenal of Freedom action sequences.
Yeah.
I will stop harping on that as of now. But, so far I am enjoying the tonal shift, which we were promised. I'm glad that the galaxy isn't at stake this time around.
Yeah.
We do know that this was not intended to be the final season of Discovery. They had to basically tack on an ending, which we'll see in episode 10, the finale.
Oh, wow. I didn't
So we will just enjoy it for what it was meant to be, another episode, another season of Discovery that wasn't intended to be the end.
Yeah.
As I predicted, be looking at a lot more strange new worlds and maybe a few strange old worlds, apparently, since we're going to Trill. So
it's also, interesting because hey, Josh Postel joined us. Hey, y'all.
Hey,
Josh. It's also interesting to me that we have, here I was complaining. It's like, look, the Chase already did this story. It was great, but that was like 35 years ago.
And it was lacking. It felt incomplete to me at the time.
Yeah. It
could have been a great concept that just got abandoned.
Yeah. I agree.
But for even a 10 episode season, I hope we see a huge payoff.
Absolutely. And they can do that. Like, one thing that I am seeing in these 2 episodes that they've aired so far is there is very much a sense of callback, as Robin brought up earlier. I love a good callback. And that's great. We are seeing a lot of characters come back, and that actually leads me to my MVP. I have one MVP maybe I don't. Maybe I love the science discussion headed up by Tilly. I am so happy Tilly's back. I love that character. I especially love her when she's on a Jonathan Frakes episode, because I think he really lets her do everything she's great at. She was pretty good in this. And Robin, I'm going to put you on record with your MVP by saying Tig Notaro alert.
Yes.
Can't wait to see Jet come back. Do love her very much. What Josh put up here. So is it me, or is everyone going nuts because of the hint of some sort of mirror universe Easter egg? Yes. It's not just you. I noticed that. The form of the old Connie class starship Constitution. I haven't watched episode 2 yet, so no spoilers.
Too late.
You are on the wrong show, my man. But yeah, we'll take it easy. We'll take it easy at this point, since you just joined us. And Robin loves Tilly as well. And I was happy to see Adira back. It's so funny to me how these characters just get under my skin in a good way, just like, I hate the bullshit on this show. I hate the stupidity that sometimes sneaks into these shows, but don't you pick on these characters. I love them. These are my characters.
Well, and I have to say, for a personal preference, I am enjoying, as I say, not lighthearted. It's still complex and deep.
Yeah.
But not so grim and foreboding as we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, these characters obviously have a capacity to be fun, as well as significant. And I'm glad we're going to see that in the first 2 episodes and the remaining 8, apparently. And for my MVP, I'm going to give it to who you gave it to for episode 1, I think, John. I'm going to have to go with Action Saru for my MVP for episode 2.
He really, especially when he shot his quills. and blew up those drones. I was like, oh, come on. This is amazing. And I loved that. I am such, and I know Robin is too, and I'm sure everybody is. I'm such a fan of Doug Jones. I just think Doug Jones he is like the best reason that Discovery exists. His work has been fantastic. He has been that he has been that sort of tortured, lonely soul that you get with a Spock, or that you get with a Data, or that you get with an Odo. That very, he's shown it all, and he's gone through so much of it. And Robin actually has met him. Dougie can do no wrong,
Oh,
and is such a real life sweetheart. And that's the thing. He is great with fans. He is great with people in the business. Never heard a bad thing about him. And I've met him myself at an audition, and just I when I met him, I was like, oh my gosh, what was that movie? It was the one with the terrible superheroes.
oh, Ben Stiller, right?
Yes, with Ben Stiller. Oh my
Audience, tell
goodness.
us. I can't remember the name of it either. Mystery
Yeah.
Men.
Mystery Men.
Yeah.
He and his character's son are Pencil Man and Pencil Boy. And when I met him, I was like, oh my God, you're Pencil Man. And he's like, oh, that's just a job I did. I'm not Pencil Man. But I sat next to him for like half an hour. Just a lovely, lovely human being. Just a great person. I couldn't be happier for him and for Star Trek for getting together. And he got to work with one of his heroes, Bill Irwin, who was playing the aforementioned by you, Joe, the Kelpian whose tears destroyed all of the dilithium in the galaxy. Whatever. Again, such dumb thing.
Mommy. Oh, what happened to all the dilithium?
Okay, whatever. All right, whatever. I just love these actors, and I'm happy the show is so beautiful and such a good show. But yeah, I have to agree. I love the tone of this season, and it's a good way for the series to end. I'm not thrilled this series is ending. I go back and forth on complaining, but I always like having a Star Trek series to look forward to. We got Strange New Worlds still. That's great. We're gonna get
Starfleet Academy, which I'm beginning to. These are predictions of sorts.
Ooh, that's a prediction. Go for it.
Picard season 3 laid the groundwork for at least one potential spinoff, which we may or may not see, which is Legacy, of course.
Oh,
and we know we're going to see Starfleet Academy. Seems like Saru is kind of going to be within, shouting distance of that facility, where he ends up. So we definitely aren't going to see the last of some of these characters, at least.
Yeah.
And they're obviously going to be tie-ins to other properties. I'm definitely seeing a potential tie-in to Section 31.
Yeah.
If our mirror universe predictions come to fruition, which is great, so long as it isn't contrived and shoehorned in.
Yeah. Agreed. And let's talk about. There's one more thing. Oh, I'd forgotten about this. They still should address Detmer's glitches. Yeah, whatever happened to that? They shouldn't lose that, because I love me some Detmer. Just an incredible character.
The whole bridge Discovery complaint is though the bulk of the bridge crew is kind of in the background.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah. Well, and with the whole story winding down, I mean, we get to see some nice moments with some of them, but just moments. And I would like to see a little more before the darn show ends.
But John, making that type of comment now is like saying, okay, today's the first day of my 2-week vacation. Man, it's going to suck when it ends. Can't look at it that way. Gotta embrace what's to come.
You are correct, sir. You are very much correct. All right, what do I have here? We want you to join us next week of course, because we're gonna be doing this show 3 p.m. here on the West Coast, 6 p.m. on the East Coast. We are, of course, in you know, I don't know what time it is for Craig over in England, but it's, I imagine, either early or late. And the third episode is called Janal. No idea what that means. Any
No
idea?
idea what. Don't know the significance of the title.
Yeah.
We shall see.
And now tomorrow, we want you to
Yes.
join us for oh, that's nice. Next time on Retro Rangers. Yes. Lovely. And I got this right, didn't I? Okay.
You did.
So yeah, tomorrow on Retro Rangers, our time for that one is 5 p.m. East Coast. 5 p.m. West Coast, 8 p.m. East Coast, Joe?
That's correct. And you make a subtle point. We need to build that into the trailer here.
No, that's fine. That's fine,
Yeah.
brother. Come on. It looked
So 5
gorgeous.
p.m., 8 p.m.
Joe made that.
tomorrow.
And I should also point out that when this graphic went up on my Facebook page, my uncle, who is in his 80s, put a shocked and dismayed face response. I think he thinks we're going to be like fighting each other with machetes on the show or something. We are not. We're going to be discussing Friday the 13th movie trailers. We watching some movie trailers, and we're going to watch an episode of the series as much as we can stand, because it ain't good.
So
But it'll be a
if
lot of
tonight's premiere of Disco Nights was too light and frothy for you, turn in tomorrow and get some blood and guts with Jason.
That'll be fantastic. And then is that the only one we wanted to do, or did we want to talk about next week on Retro Rangers?
I think that's it for now.
That's more for later. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we got tomorrow. We got next Saturday's Disco Nights, and of course, we'll tell you all about the Retro Rangers episode.
There will be no machete fight, Robin. Just stop.
Oh, come on.
All right. Anything else we want to say, Mr. Townsend?
You know what? I think we did great. We only went a half hour over. And
only.
No, I think 45 minutes of pop is a good amount of time, and we had a great audience night. Thank you everybody for tuning in and commenting. Let's hope to see you next week and tomorrow. And I think that start with Star Trek Discovery.
Friends, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of Starbase 80s Disco Nights. Mr. Townsend, thank you so much for all the hard work.
Well, thank you, sir. I'm doing my non-rhythm white guy biting the lower lip move here.
I don't want anyone to look too carefully or too closely at any of these pictures, because they're awful. And well, these are nice. These are okay.
There's your guy.
It's gonna be that dirty wig, man. That dirty wig. Thank you so much, friends. We will see you next week. Again, 6 p.m. on the East Coast, 3 p.m. here on the Best Coast. And Robin, hope you're there. Josh, Craig, everybody who wants to watch the show, come watch it live with us. We love that. Love hearing your comments and your jokes. One of the best parts of the day.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
And that'll do it. Good night to you. Good night, Mr. Townsend.
Good night, Captain. Live long and prosper, as they say.
As they say. I'm so terrible at this. Hang on. Let me get my